Good morning and welcome to Unity of Modesto. We're delighted that you're joining us on this hot, scorching day, and we're thinking cool thoughts. So we're starting off with This is the Day, and we're going to have words today because Jackie made slides. So there they are. This is the day that the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it, This is the day that the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord hath made. This is the day that the Lord hath made, We will rejoice and be glad in it, This is the day that the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord hath made. And next we're doing I Send My Love. Carol, would you like to come in?
And when we send our love over the mountain, picture a snowy mountain. Okay. There we go. Snow.
Okay. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my peace over the mountains. I send my peace over the sea. I send my peace into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. Love. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. And it returns to me. Thank you so much, Carol.
Thank you.
And next is Can It Be? Can it be, can it be, can it be God's love in me? All this joy and energy is mine to share today. Can you see, I was made God's love to be. In everything I say and do, I'll be God's love for you. Can it be, can it be, can it be God's love so free? All you feel within your heart is yours to share today. Can you see, you were made God's love to be. With everything you say will see God's love in you. Can it be? Can it be? Can it be God's love you see? All this joy and energy is ours to share today. Can you see? Can you see? We were made God's love to be. In everything we say and do, we are God's love for you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Jackie. What fun to have the words to all the songs so we can wake ourselves up and get up our consciousness and be here. This morning, we're doing the Lord's Prayer from the hymnal. So if you want to find a hymnal somewhere, it's page 70. And the tune for this is Finlandia by Sibelius. So think Finland, okay? Snow, ice, sleighs, anything cold and cool as we gently and coolly sing the Lord's Prayer.
Our Heavenly Father, who in love abideth, we worship Thee, we praise Thy holy name. Teach us Thy children evermore to love Thee. Thy will be done in earth as heaven today. Teach us Thy children evermore to love Thee. Thy will be done in earth as heaven today. Oh, give us grace to meet the coming morrow. Forgive our debts as others we forgive. Thou leavest not Thy children in temptation, and from all evil Thou deliverest us. Thine is the kingdom, Thine the power and glory, world without end, forevermore. Amen.
Are we all cooled down about 5 degrees now, thinking of snow? It was so great last Sunday to see so many people here. That was a big success. And I suspect some of them are a little bit too warm to venture out this morning. So all those watching online, just think cool and join us next Sunday. I don't know if it'll be any cooler, but, we're air conditioned. We are affirming that. You're right, Mark. We are affirming. I was thinking 80s are nice, so let's just all think temperatures in the 80s. And we had such a good time. We're going to look forward to having another event before too long. We will keep you posted. Tomorrow evening is the Zen meditation class. Now, there's a good way to cool down. Yes? Oh, okay. So tomorrow night is not happening. Stay home and stay cool. And a week from tomorrow, it will be again. So, Sharon, is it going to continue through 8 weeks, which would be in August, would be the last class? Okay, we'll keep you posted. But if you haven't been yet, plan on coming. Mark your calendar. A week from tomorrow, come on in. Bring a pillow or something to sit on, and you can sit on a chair if you need to. And it's teaching, focusing our mind, and talk about a challenge. The book they're using is The Miracle of Mindfulness which is very good. I'm reading through that right now, and a lot of good suggestions about keeping our mind focused, pay attention to our breath, keeping centered. You know how easy it is to be doing one thing and thinking about something else? Well, we're making an effort to change that. If you're missing out on any emails or announcements, monthly newsletter, be sure and contact the office. The church number is 209-576-5433, and you can leave a message. And really? Oh, I have to change my computer. 578-5433. Thank you, Jackie. And Jackie is here usually Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10:30 to 12:30. Call ahead and make sure she didn't get 10 other things to do at the same time. And you can bring in any donations to our food pantry, which is being used. And that's a wonderful way for us to support the community. When someone is in need of food, what a challenge. You know, they can come here and get some food from us, non-perishable things. Please don't bring your ripe bananas. And then we can help support others. The daily word this morning is about pray for others. Now, this is something we can always do, and I've recommended a number of times. When you're watching the news and you see, oh my gosh, and that's your reaction, pray. That should be your very next reaction. Say a prayer for whoever, whatever the experience that's going on. The affirmation today is, I know the truth of each dear one I hold in prayer. What an honor it is to hold others in prayer. I'm grateful for this sacred trust and use it to see beyond appearances, knowing they are temporary conditions. I focus on the unchangeable truth that each one for whom I pray is a divine being, a living expression of God. As I pray for others, I envision divine peace, calming thoughts, and strengthening faith. I see healing leading to the realization of wholeness. I pray divine love and wisdom create harmony in relationships, guiding every decision. I affirm divine order is established in every area of life. I claim for them the zeal to complete everything that needs to be done. I then give thanks, grateful to bless others with a gift of prayer. And from Matthew 18:19, again, truly I tell you, if two of you agree on earth about anything you ask, it will be done for you by my Father in heaven. Talk about reassurance. Oh, thank you. And we have an affirmation for this month. And let's say together, I choose to create a peaceful world. Peace and harmony settle in my heart. A meditation? You have a song?
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less
Should anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle, how deeply you're connected to my soul. How deeply you're connected to my soul. Now, if you will make sure that you're sitting comfortably, feet flat on the floor, hands with nothing in them, set aside something, whatever's there, and just open your hands to be receptive and gently place them in your lap and close your eyes. Let's take a nice, slow, deep breath in, pulling in life and support, all that we need, healing, energy, love, rides in on that air, that oxygen, life-giving, invigorating. And with our out-breath, let us let go, relax. Let our energy just sink down inside us and know that we are supported. We are in a safe place. We are held in the hands of love. And what is happening is that in this quiet moment of love and support, we feel, we know our true self. That expression of God, that Christ consciousness, that beautiful spark of life with which we were born and never leaves us, expresses forever, even after we've worn out this clothing body. This beautiful eternal spark is our real self. And we feel this. And we are comforted. This is our source of all that we need. And right now we open up to receiving whatever we need, whether we can label it or not. We feel comforted by the truth of our being. And we feel the gratitude. And we keep that within our heart for this coming week as we gradually bring ourselves back here to this moment in time. This year, we're focusing on healing, all types of healings. And this month, we're taking a look at healing the world. Just a minor thing, right? So I thought we would look at healing the world with a vision, an attitude, an affirmation of, I behold the Christ in you. My first reaction to this affirmation was to consider breaking up the word behold, by separating be and hold, and then applying it. If we use some very poor grammar, we could say, I be the Christ. And then think of how we are an expression of the Christ consciousness. We can look into a mirror and say, I behold the Christ in you, and start our consideration of healing the world by beginning with the relationship we have between ourselves and our inner Christ. How do we feel when we confront ourselves with that idea of Christ in us? Do we feel not quite worthy, or squirm a bit if we think about maybe how we've been living lately? Before we can venture out to look at our relationships with others, we need to first confront ourselves with some truths and work on elevating our awareness and acceptance of our Christ within. It might be a good exercise to stand in front of a mirror and repeat the phrase, I behold the Christ in you. And then discuss with ourselves up here in our brain what the reactions are to that, because you're going to hear some voices come up. And if we find ourselves doubting, disagreeing, or wrestling with feelings of unworthiness, we can stand still, repeat the phrase, and argue our doubts away. We might want to make some notes about affirmations to use to help ourselves with that, or sit down and write a list of our good qualities. They're there. If you can't think of them, what did anybody ever say nice about you to you? And then come back to the mirror and polish up our first relationship. If we look at the truth that we are an expression of God, we can see that our relationship with ourselves is also our relationship with God. If Jesus was standing in front of us, how easy would it be to say, I behold the Christ in you? Well, we can think of that and then transfer it to that image in the mirror and be good to ourselves by holding an image within ourselves that is the Christ. When we consciously connect with the Christ in ourselves through contemplation, meditation, prayer, we feel the joy, the true joy of that uplifting, rejuvenating, healing, and inspiring Christ consciousness that's always there to draw on when we need it. When we move outside ourselves and look at the people around us, how often can we truly say, I behold the Christ in you? When we can honestly say that, we uplift the other person and we rise up too. We're only limited in our lives by our own thinking. If we will raise our expectations of both ourselves and others to the level of a Christ expression, we will grow up to it and carry others with us. If you quietly stand in front of someone and say, I behold the Christ in you, don't you feel elevated? It's like throwing sunlight on a sheet of metal. It comes right back at you. And I think our heart area, our soul area, heart chakra, whatever you want to think of it, is warmed and expanded by the acknowledgement of that truth that all of us are a wonderful expression of the loving God. When I went through the Gospels looking for examples of Jesus modeling this behavior of seeing the Christ in others, I could see that this was a constant for him. When he healed the lame, the leper, the blind man, he was seeing the perfect Christ in each of them in the form of physical perfection. And this made it possible for their bodies to get in alignment with the power of his consciousness, and all the molecules of their body could just sort of fall into place and line up with that perfect health desired. It would be like holding up a mold and then stepping into it. When we hold the Christ consciousness, as in the second half of that word, behold, we are seeing perfection, holding up a standard, enabling ourselves and others to rise up to it as we hold it in place. In Matthew 12:35, we're told that a good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth good things. So, out of the inner treasure of our personal Christ consciousness, we can look for the good, the treasures in others, hold up the bar, the standard, or the mold, whatever you want to think of it as, to step into. When the woman accused of adultery was brought to Jesus, he again was looking for the best, the Christ consciousness. He was told the woman was going to be stoned, and he drew a line in the sand, and he challenged the accusers. He told them that they could throw a stone if they've never, ever made a mistake, and they left. It looks like he put a guilt trip on them, or they put it on themselves as they crept off. But I also see that Jesus was beholding the highest and the best in the woman. Jesus couldn't judge or condemn the woman when he saw only the good in her. When we see the inner perfection of others, we change our relationship with them. Think of how we might heal the world of so many divisions when we drop faulty judgments and feel a kinship with other people, heart to heart, inner Christ to inner Christ. We are connected. We are all expressions of the same one God. So how can we be judgmental or angry or reject someone when we behold and we feel it? We really feel the Christ in them and in ourselves. We've all heard the reports of teachers who were told that their class that they're getting this year, say in September, okay, the class you're getting this year is filled with all students with high IQ. Every one of them has a high IQ. No matter what the facts were, that's what the teacher was told. And then the teachers expect the best and behold the best in all those students. And what they experienced was improved behavior, more accomplishments, and even higher IQ by the end of the year, because the children were tested before and at the end. What a wonderful gift to give anyone to see or hold up that best in them, to behold the Christ in them and all the world, and see so many situations and people healed with just this basic attitude and vision that we can adopt. We can ask ourselves, how can I express, live, hold this Christ consciousness in myself? With each day, certainly each big or new life experience, we can ask ourselves, what is the Christ thought in this? What is the Christ action? How do I express the Christ in me today or with this relationship? And how do I assist you in expressing, holding, living the Christ in you? Whether I'm looking at an individual or I'm looking at a group, how can I see in you? And I ask myself this, I really do. As I'm reviewing my sermon, I'm thinking, how can I hold all these beautiful people? What can I see in them so I see the Christ consciousness in each and every one of you? And we can ask ourselves that before we wander out of the house. Consider an average day. When we go to the store, we can put uppermost in our mind to behold the Christ in other shoppers, perhaps. So we can smile and be pleasant and accommodating. If that was Jesus taking the last melon on sale, would you glare at him? Or would you smile and be glad he got the item he wanted and look for something else for yourself? When we get in line to check out, do we look at the inner person working the check stand? Can we picture them as a loving expression of God? This is a good thing to think of when you're about the fourth person way down at the end of the line. And everybody's got a big basket full, and people might be starting to get just a wee bit cranky. Behold the Christ in all of them. Everyone there. And know that that checker is working and doing the best, and expect them to be doing their best. And if they seem a little bit tired or stressed, can we hold them up with a smile and encouraging words, certainly thank you, some appreciation. And then when we're driving home, can we honestly, lovingly bless the person who is driving aggressively? Can we bless their inner Christ with safety, caution, stress release? That's one of the things I'll tell myself when they're driving, like, shouldn't be doing that. Bless you, and may your stress be released. I don't know what pressures that person is feeling, so I can bless their Christ consciousness and see that they're doing their best, and may they be relaxed, and really honestly wish them the best. It can be so easy to be sweet and loving here in church, to turn to our fellow congregants and say, I behold the Christ in you. We're just all so lovely. But how long can we carry it out of this building and past this moment in time? If you don't make it down to the street corner, then you got to work on something. Maybe we need a little sticker on our dashboard that says, I behold the Christ in you. Wouldn't that be a great thing? It would remind us to see that in others, and then we could behave as though someone is looking at me and saying that same thing. Oh, I want to drive so that I'm showing the Christ consciousness. I was fortunate enough to have someone in my life who modeled the ideal of looking for the highest in others. That person was my maternal grandmother, and I've mentioned her a number of times over the years. I remember thinking when I was a little kid that I could murder someone. I could be in jail. I'd picture one of those Western jails with the bars, my hands around the bars, and Grandma would come in and pat my hand and say, that's okay, sweetheart. I know you're innocent. Blood running off my hands. And she would say, I know you're innocent. She always believed the best. I saw the adults in my family talking about her, saying, she's unrealistic. She doesn't know how bad that person really is. And then I would look at Grandma and her experiences, and she believed people were nice. And when they were around her, they were on their best behavior, living up to her vision of them. And her experience of them was joyful. I used to think of her as almost living in a pink bubble, but she wasn't unrealistic. She had a lot of tough years, and she experienced some very abusive people. But she looked for, she expected, she beheld a high level. And usually what she expected was what she experienced. When I was little, it almost seemed like magic, and when I learned about psychology and human behavior, and I saw how truly clever and metaphysical she really was. So if there's someone in our life that we're having a particular challenge with, now whoever just popped into your mind, that's the one. What a great exercise it can be to remind ourselves a number of times before we encounter them to behold their Christ. We can make a little reminder note. We can include it in our prayers that we remember the next time we see them to see the best in them. And then truly look for it with eager anticipation. What good can I find here? We may find that we're pleasantly surprised by the results. In the Bible, when we read about Ruth and how she remained with her mother-in-law Naomi, we usually think of Ruth as an example of unconditional love or loyalty or dedication. Could it be also that Ruth was capable of seeing the best in Naomi? Why else would you follow someone? When we think of leaders that have gathered a group or attracted people, we sometimes write them off as being entertaining or charismatic, and undoubtedly some of them are. But others may be living in a way that allows their followers to see the good in them. I suspect that Ruth followed Naomi and was dedicated to her because Ruth was capable of beholding the beautiful inner being in Naomi. When I contemplated other leaders, special ones like Mahatma Gandhi and Mother Teresa, I thought of the different dynamics going on. How could they give up their normal lives and dedicate themselves to help lead, inspire, or benefit people that they didn't even know and they weren't in their family if they were not capable of seeing the Christ consciousness in individuals and in humanity in general. Gandhi thought everyone in India was worthy of his efforts and ultimately his life. There's one story about Gandhi that says he was going into a village and he was warned about this big angry man that would hurt him. Gandhi went anyway, and when a great big angry man grabbed him by the throat, Gandhi just looked at him in total love. The man dropped Gandhi and fell to his knees sobbing. Now, how could Gandhi look at a big, angry, abusive man with love unless he was seeing the good, the Christ, in that man? This is a way we can all get past the outer appearances. Mother Teresa nursed the lowest in the caste system as if each of them was Jesus himself. She truly beheld the Christ as she nursed the people. And both of these individuals enabled large crowds of people to see the Christ in them as they received support or found followers. I love the quote that I read years ago about that 90-pound pauper woman who built $1 million hospitals. She could not have done that without her ability to see Christ in others and inspire them to see it in her, and then act in a Christ-like manner when it came to caring for the poor and ill and writing a check out for $1 million for one of her hospitals. If we look to those examples and work to use this strategy in our lives, what might we accomplish? Can we have a goal of healing the world with this practice? We could start with when we're watching TV and we see something or someone that we think, ooh, no, change that. And just force yourself. I behold the Christ in you. Okay, maybe if I close my eyes, it'll help. I behold the Christ in you. And just practice on someone or something that we're seeing on television. When we think about some of the teachings of Jesus, how might we use this idea? I asked myself, what would enable us to truly turn the other cheek? When someone's behaving badly, verbally, or they're being manipulating, how tempting it is to meet them at their level and strike back. But if we want to develop some spiritual strength and let their ill behavior sail past us, what can we do to keep ourselves strong? Silently, perhaps while we bite our tongue, repeat to ourselves, I behold the Christ in you. And ask ourselves if we can drop off the outer layers of this person's behavior or words and see that deep inside is that perfection of God expression. If the situation escalates, we protect ourselves or we remove ourselves. And perhaps we go through this exercise at a distance. We may need to go into another room. And when we're going into a situation and we know ahead of time that we may encounter someone who's a challenge, we fortify ourselves ahead of time by picturing them and seeing the Christ in them. And this process helps us feel a connection at a deep level, and it may pave the way for a meeting of the minds or cooperation that hadn't been there in the past. But the past doesn't have to repeat itself. When we think of how Jesus was non-judgmental, he even got along with the tax collector, we can see that this can come from the highest in everyone. When he advises us to love our enemies, it's the same thing. The way you love your enemy is you don't see him as an enemy. When we see the Christ in others and make that connection that it's the same consciousness expressing in us, we realize our oneness and we have no real enemies, only family. All of us, fellow expressions of God. The perfect relationship, the way to heal the world. This phrase, I behold the Christ in you, can give us a wonderful standard, like the other principles that we've studied, to use as a reminder, a measure, an ideal to use in our daily lives. And if we truly use it, if we keep it in mind as we encounter all the many people in our lives with whom we have a relationship, it could be a life-changing experience and a good start to healing our world. If we see the Christ in everyone we encounter, how could we not be civil, polite, helpful, supportive, respectful, understanding, loving? The list could go on and on. You can use your own imagination of using it throughout your daily life. Let's all make an effort to imprint that thought on the very forefront of our minds or the sticker on our dashboard and carry it with us to apply to everyone we meet this coming week. Just 1 week, try it. See how much it uplifts us, as well as the people all around it, us, and how much it changes the world out there, starting with our world. I think we'll enjoy the experience. Have a wonderful week. Thank you.
I behold the Christ in you. Here the life of God I see. I can see a great peace too. I can see you whole and free. I behold the Christ in you. I can see this as you walk. I see this in all you do. I can see this as you talk. I behold God's love expressed. I can see you filled with power. I can see you ever blessed. See Christ in you hour by hour. I behold the Christ in you. I can see that perfect one. Led by God in all you do, I can see God's work is done. I behold God's love expressed. I can see you filled with power. I can see you ever blessed. See Christ in you hour by hour. I behold the Christ in you. I can see that perfect one. Led by God in all you do, I can see God's work is done.
I keep threatening to just let you sing instead of having a sermon on a Sunday morning. You said it all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now we have the wonderful opportunity of sharing our gifts and treasures. It's our money, credit card, whatever you want to drop in, and your blessings and your prayers and your goodwill. And let's know that we behold that Christ consciousness in our entire congregation and our church too. So let's say together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that receive. Thank you, God.
And we're singing, I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Know together all the blessings for this and support are all Christ. I didn't see it on the slides. What? It was there. Okay. It didn't tell me. It didn't pop right out and say, Nancy. So we have a prayer box in the back, and that's where we write down our concerns. And when we place them in the box or when we send an email to the church, that's when we let go and let God. So let's know that whether it's a pet, a person, an experience, like an earthquake, or what's happening down in Haiti, we can also say prayers for things that almost seem too big. You know, I mean, there's a famine going on in Madagascar. But we can pray. We can support those people with our prayers and know that we don't have the answers, but God knows. So answers are coming to those people. Food is coming to those people, and guidance for the farmers to be able to handle the drought that has affected them. They're not having a war there. It's nothing man-made. So we most assuredly don't have to get in any judgment or anything. It's a situation for which we can offer our prayers. And we don't need to go into detail either. When we pray one name or one experience, one area, and then we know that it's healed. So let's join together in consciousness, in that beautiful Christ consciousness, and know that every person that is on our mind or for whom a note has been placed in the prayer box is on our prayer list. Every experience that comes to mind, whether it's right now or throughout the week when we encounter world events, we know that there's only one power and one presence, and that is God, operating everywhere with all the power that is needed, with all the knowledge that is needed, and the goal, the aim, the forward push with zeal is always healing. The people are healed, the events are taken care of, there is support, and there is guidance. Always guidance. And that's a wonderful thing to put in our prayers, because we don't always have the answers, but God knows. And so people working on challenging situations are guided, and they have the support they need and the power they need, and it is done, all healed in divine love. And so it is. Amen. Okay. And now
we're going to close with the peace song, followed by the prayer for protection. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and And we leave this building today knowing that the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.